What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm Warren Thompson, and Marvel Studios has officially recast Sentry for the Thunderbolts and the MCU. Now, they've made a lot of changes to the Thunderbolts recently, which we'll go over in this video as they were reported with this news. Plus, we'll talk about Kang recasting Kang the Conqueror, the big bad of the MCU. I've seen some people already state they recast Steven Yeun so fast, but what about Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror? Are they going to recast for the role soon? Could they bring Jonathan Majors back? What's the situation there? Why haven't we heard anything about it yet? We'll go over all of this in this video. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date on all of the latest Marvel MCU news. Also doing a big giveaway. We'll talk about that at the end. So last week, it was reported that Pullman could possibly be the new Sentry after Steven Yeun's department. Steven Yeun had to leave due to scheduling conflicts. And just 4 days ago, on January 25th, Deadline reported that Pullman was in early talks to join the Marvel Studios film, The Thunderbolts. And today, in an article about a different Thunderbolts change, they slyly confirmed that this has happened. They reported today Thunderbolts Geraldine Viswanathan joins Marvel Studios pick, stepping in for Ayo Edebiri, who departs project due to scheduling. That's now the second actor that they have lost due to scheduling for the Thunderbolts. We'll get back to this in just a second, but in the article, it states Viswanathan is the second recent addition after the film added Pullman to step in for Steven Yeun, who departed for similar scheduling reasons as Edebiri. So it's really interesting that they didn't do their own article for the fact that Pullman is now Sentry in the MCU. They simply added it to this other article about the Thunderbolts. But nevertheless, we have our new Sentry, Pullman. And if you don't know who he is, you might have seen him in Top Gun Maverick. He played Bob, and he was one of the main characters of the film. He did an excellent job playing the role that he was given. And honestly, if he bulks up a little bit and you picture him with long blonde hair, he kind of does look the part. So he's going to be playing Bob again. He's going to be playing Bob Reynolds, Ryan Reynolds in the movie, who of course is Sentry, and he will join the Thunderbolts team. Now, Deadline even states in this article that they basically don't know who this new character is going to be, that Edebiri was before, and that now Geraldine Viswanathan is. And we haven't really heard much about the character at all. We're not sure who it is, and they even state that we don't know much about the project, although we do know a little bit about the project, the Thunderbolts. Based off of what we have heard from multiple different insiders over the course of several months, we know that the Thunderbolts is a team put together by Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. She's popped up a lot in the MCU at this point in time and kind of showed her true colors in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. She's going to go on to be a villain. In fact, some insiders say that she is going to be the true villain of the Thunderbolts team. Essentially, this is kind of like a Suicide Squad team. Valentina is going to put together this team to go on a mission that she doesn't expect or want any of them to get back alive from. Of course, there are going to be subplots throughout the movie, and one of those is, we know this, they're going to visit Tiamat Island, which is what they are calling the dead celestial sticking out of Earth, the celestial Tiamat. And if you've been following the news recently, you've probably heard that it's said that Tiamat is made out of adamantium, which of course is the metal that's inside of Wolverines that his claws are made of. And of course, the US government wants this. It's been said that other governments throughout the world for other countries want it as well, and there's going to be a decent fight. So this is one of the missions that the Thunderbolts are going to go on, plus some others as well. At least that's the plan. However, things kind of changed thanks to Sentry. If you're somewhat familiar with Sentry from the comics, you probably know that he's not exactly in the best mental state. In fact, he suffers from schizophrenia, anxiety disorders, and he is a drug addict. In fact, that is how he becomes Sentry. He breaks into a Project Sentry lab, which was doing experiments on the super soldier serum, and takes a Project Sentry serum, which turns him into Sentry. It gives him the power of 1 million exploding suns. And he took the serum to get his latest drug fix, but that is not all. If you know Sentry, then you know the Void. After Robert Reynolds takes the serum due to his psychiatric problems, he manifests an intensely malevolent persona called the Void, but his subconscious just as quickly manifests a balancing heroic persona, the Sentry. And both personas are unaware that they are connected to each other. And the Void at one point in time even attacks New York City and kills a lot of people. And I mean a lot. So although we are unsure of what the exact story for Sentry is going to be in the Thunderbolts, we know that something goes wrong because he's a part of the team, and then all of a sudden, the Thunderbolts team has to fight against him, so the Void might take over, and they might depict them as just one entity in the movie, maybe something like a dual personality. So Lewis Pullman is our Sentry. Now it's worth noting that Marvel Studios is rewriting the Thunderbolts. This is what we knew before. They could change some or maybe even all of this. Well, not all of it, because obviously Sentry is clearly still going to be in the film. And Marvel Studios clearly has plans for Tiamat, since he hasn't been addressed since the Eternals. This was finally the opportunity to do so, and it makes sense because this is coming right after Captain America Brave New World, just 5 months after. And we know that Thunderbolt Ross is still going to be experimenting with the Super Soldier Serum. Perhaps that is how Sentry comes into play. Plus, we know he's going to be the president, and most likely is the person who wants the adamantium from Tiamat Island. So some aspects of the story are obviously still the same, and Lewis Pullman is now our Sentry. And again, this has people wondering, well, what about recasting Kang the Conqueror? Jonathan Majors was fired by Marvel Studios before Stephen Young exited as Sentry, and now Sentry has already been recast. What's the deal with Jonathan Majors? Well, one, of course, the most obvious, is that they have more time to cast Jonathan Majors. The Thunderbolts comes out before the next Avengers film. And based off of what we've heard from insiders, Marvel Studios is still planning on using Kang the Conqueror in the MCU. However, they kind of want to sideline him a little bit, at least for a little while, supposedly because they kind of want the whole Jonathan Majors trial to die down a little bit before they bring back Kang, because they feel like Kang right now has a negative connotation. If you mention Kang the Conqueror, people automatically think of Jonathan Majors, and some people might not think very highly right now. Although based off of the comments that I've been seeing in my comment section and online, a lot of people still really want Jonathan Majors back. A lot of people believe that he was actually innocent and that the trial outcome did not reflect what actually happened, and Jonathan Majors is going on to appeal this. This has already been confirmed by him himself. And of course, people are wondering, well, if he appeals and then he ends up being found not guilty, will Marvel Studios take him back? And unfortunately, that is a question that we just don't know at this point in time, but that could be a reason, another reason, why Marvel Studios is putting off right now recasting Kang the Conqueror. They want things to kind of die down a little bit, but they might be waiting to see what happens when he appeals. After all, they did wait until he was found guilty to fire him. That's a lot better than everybody else did, who fired him right away as soon as the accusations were made against Jonathan Majors. So Marvel Studios showed patience before. They could show it again to see what happens when he appeals, but of course, we have no way of knowing. That's just speculation at this point in time. But in the meantime, let me know your thoughts about that in the comments down below, and let me know what you think of Lewis Pullman being cast as the Sentry in the Thunderbolts. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you can stay up to date on the MCU. And if you subscribe and leave a comment, you are automatically entered in our giveaway for a chance to win an Xbox Series X, a PS5, some Marvel Legends items, or some DC items. The winner gets to pick one item, and we pick one winner at the end of each month. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.